Thank you so much, Shiro. Today we'll hear talk on steps 4 and 5 by Lavelle from Chicago. Please give him a warm welcome.
Look, you guys, Val needs help, right? We need extra special help for Val, right? uh, I'm Lavelle Deshaun Johnson Senior. I'm an alcoholic. Um, and thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Beacon Group. You guys have been such a blessing um, to me since Zoom has taken over. Um, and I hope you guys can hear me. If you can, give me a thumbs up. If you can't, just it's probably best for most of you guys that can't hear me, right? Because that's usually when people tune me out, cut me off, all kind of stuff. All right, I'm feeling extra special happy today, and I don't know. It's like either I didn't take my medication or I'm on too much meds. And just let me tell you, I don't take medication, but just in case I did, I would be Kyle. You understand, right? And I guess I'm really juiced and jazzed today because I had an experience this morning. I woke up to a young lady who has given me an absolute pleasure in reinvigorating my sobriety with asking me to go through the big book with her. And she called me this morning, and we kind of went through stuff, and the excitement and the understanding of the difference of understanding stuff and new. Like it's like, listen, AA is like the Love Boat. It's exciting and new, right? We're on another run, right? It's just I don't know. So thank you. I know I'm here to talk about steps 4 and 5, concentrating on fear and sex. And let me tell you, I'm afraid of sex most of the time, right? And I have fear about the kind of sex that I'm gonna have. So let me tell you how this stuff goes together. And the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I love, is the instruction manual. The Big Book says it's the basic text of our society. So that means that this is something that's used to give me direction on the very things that I'm trying to do to clean up my life in these particular areas. Now here, page 68 says, we reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment and connection with them. We asked ourselves why we had. So I ask myself a lot of times, sometimes the fears that I have are necessary fears, right? I have a fear of walking in the middle of the street, getting hit by a car. I have a fear of dying. I have a fear, like certain things that are just innate, natural fears of mine. But then some things are unrealistic, unhealthy fears of, why you look at me like that, Stephanie? Jerome, why you putting your fingers in your ear? Angela, why you ain't paying me no attention? Right? Like I'll sit here and watch everybody look, and Sherry down there in Nashville laughing at me. Right? See, why are y'all doing me like this? Why are y'all magnifying my magic magnifying mind and making me I'll worry about? See, it's 34 people on this meeting right now, and I'll wonder why 32 or 33 of you guys are attentive, engaged. And then Mary over there in North Carolina will be rolling her eyes, turning the camera on and all. And I'll be trying to wonder, what is she doing? Where is she at? Why is she ain't listening to me, right? like I'm afraid. Now I've messed up my entire day because I'm focusing, paying attention to Kit Kat. Say she just listening. Why you just listening? Why you don't want to say that? Why you don't want to participate? How you dare you get a, like I'm listen. Listen, I will confuse me and you all at the same time. I'm afraid of if I make too much money, they're going to take too many taxes. If I don't make enough money, I'm not going to be able to support myself. Like all these unrealistic, but there's things and processes of. I've never had to file bankruptcy until last week. Now, listen. If you've had to file bankruptcy, that's fine. That's wonderful, and it's there for a reason. But and something in my mind would wrap it around and say, well, you understand financial literacy. How dare you go in? But sometimes regardless if I understand it or not, I'm a human being that can make some bad decisions, right? So I have fear of. Hey, let me tell you something. So the guy that I had to sit down and file taxes with, look, you guys are some extraordinary people here in Alcoholics Anonymous. You guys are wonderful. You guys are do everything. And the guy I had to sit down with is a really good friend of mine. I've known him since I've been sober. It's November 12, 2001. Because see, sometimes David say sometimes I'll act like I got a sweat against something I didn't have one, right? So here it is. I sit down with this guy who seen me in this process. Was there when I got here. Uh-oh. It says my internet is unstable. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You can still hear me? Okay. Hold
We
on.
we missed
Let's try this.
we missed a couple of sentences, but we can hear you now.
All right. So this guy. So this guy that I had to sit with and talk about my bankruptcy is a guy who's been a part of my life since I've been sober, right? So why am I afraid of sitting down talking with him about things that I've heard him talk about processes that I heard him get through? And I'm sitting here and I'm afraid, and it's like doing an inventory. It's just like doing an inventory. Because I'm grateful that I got with you guys and I know how to do an inventory. Because I had to sit down with him and he had to ask me these questions. Where did you spend? How much did you make? What are you doing? Why do you have these debts? And everything inside of me is going to get that natural instinct to hide. That natural thing inside of me to say, well, I don't want you to know that I mismanage money. I don't want you to know that I have these debts. I don't want you to know. How can I get past this? How can I live? HC, how can I just pay the money and let you do the bankruptcy? Right? Why do I have to tell you all this stuff? Same thing when I sit down with my spouse. How can I just have this stuff wiped away from me? How can I just have it removed without putting it down in black and white on paper? Wow. See, I have one sponsor, and I say that because I've learned that in my life, anytime I'm trying to deal with multiple people about the things that are going on in my life, if I'm not consistent with one individual, giving them the information, not bits and pieces, I have to always tell one of my sponsors, we be talking all the time, and she'll get off the track of things, and she started talking about something else. I say, only the facts, ma'am. Right? Only the facts, ma'am. I don't all the other, because I'll get way off track. See, I'll start telling you about other things and why the money got spent the way it did and how I'm in debt. The reality is that I'm in debt. How do I fix it? What do I need to do? All I need to do is I make a list. And then I don't have to be in fear about it. And as soon as I got done and left his office and we were sitting down and we were laughing and joking and talking, and I'm saying, well, man, I wish we could have met under better circumstances. And then his words to me was, well, I'm an attorney. I don't always meet people in better circumstances, right? Because see, but I don't think about that, right? But these are the circumstances behind which my fear will push me, and because of the fear of doing this thing, because of the fear of embarrassment or judgment, or I'm thinking about all this stuff. But the reality is, I need to get this done. I need it done. So, and there's processes of doing it. I remember one of my biggest fears of when I first got into Alcoholics Anonymous and understood that I was going to have to do an inventory. One of my biggest fears was talking about sex, right? Talking about the things that had happened to me. I'm a male child who's grown up as a heterosexual male, and I've had, I was molested from my babysitter for multiple years, not just a one instance or I was just touched or anything like that. And Sonny, I'm so glad that I got a chance to write this stuff down and to understand today that's nothing wrong with me. Like, I understand the big book says that though we did not like their symptoms and the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick people too. See, I always like to say that other people are sick. I don't realize that, like me, they sick. And something was going on with them spiritually at the time. I don't, and that stuff, because I'm like, oh, what do I have to do? And how are people going to look at me? And Kyle is not going to think I'm a real man if I talk about being sexually molested. And Angela's going to think that I'm, like, really? And one of the things that I found out and learning is more men after the meeting or more women are coming in. I have a really good friend of mine, I'll be seeing later, and she talked about this in a meeting. Her nephew, who's 6 years old, had to talk to her about being touched by a member of her family. And she was like, man, I was so glad that I was the one he chose to come and talk to. Now, we sit here and understand and listening to this kind of stuff and think about, I realize that stuff happens more often than we even realize in people's homes and families and growing up, right? But nobody ever talks about it. Nobody wants to discuss it. There's so much shame and guilt and stuff, so much fear around that. And then the other thing, like sex. Big Book says, now about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Right. Like now about sex, right? And look, Marcy's over there like, Marcy just turned red when I started talking about sex, right? And not just her hair, her whole face. But listen, see, these are the things that'll happen to me that I'll get ashamed, embarrassed. I'll think that many of us needed an overhauling there. But above all, we tried to be sensible on this question. It is easy to get way off track. Here we find human opinions running to extremes, absurd extremes. See, because one thing would have one set of voices cry for sex, that sex is the lust of our lower nature, a base necessity of procreation. Then we have the voices who cry for sex and more sex, who bewail the institution of marriage, who think that most of the troubles of the race are traceable to sex causes. They think we do not have enough of it, or that it isn't the right kind. They see its significance everywhere. One school would allow man no favor for his fair. Like, that's the one that's telling me I need to be married, I need to be monogamous, I need to be, like, I only need to have sex to have children, I only need to, like, but you're telling me these are the things I need to do, like, your mind and your condition, your ideas, but then here go me. And the other, shut up, Sonny, and the other would have us all on the straight pepper diet, right? I am a pepper dieter, right? That was my, and if you look up the definition of the word pepper diet in the dictionary, a lot of people say, well, the Big Book is antiquated. Actually, it's not. I got a master's degree in mathematics and English. There's nothing antiquated about the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, the wording and the way things are said might be distasteful to me, but it's not antiquated. I just don't like it, but it's not antiquated. I don't I be wanting to say your mama to Bill W most of the time, because I want to be like the Cowardly Lion. I want to put them up. I want to fight. Like, how dare you tell me that these are the things that I need to do in my life? How dare you tell me I needed overhauling this? And I love my sponsors so much. I think sometimes in Alcoholics Anonymous, the fellowship is remiss by not really talking about how important that linkage of our fellowship is. It's so important for me to have and develop a relationship with someone in whom I trust. Like, I trust this man wholeheartedly. Now let me tell you, my sponsor was a woman. My sponsor's been sober for 55 years. He walked into his first meeting in Alcoholics Anonymous, September 10th, 1970, and his first and only sponsor at the time, until she made her transition, was Miss Laura. Miss Laura Lenoir. She made her transition sober, a sober woman of Alcoholics Anonymous, but he talks about how she taught him how to be a man. She taught him the understanding of these things about sex. She taught him how to treat a woman. She taught, like I hear people say men with men and women with women. I sponsor alcoholics. I do. I sponsor alcoholics. I sponsor a lot. I sponsor more women than I do men. And I've never had a problem with a woman that I sponsor. Well, let me rephrase that because they hard head too. I've never had a problem sexually with a woman I sponsor, right? let me be clear here. Because one of the things, if I'm having, it says we all need an overhauling there. If I'm having problems in the areas of sex, if my sex conduct is out of order, I'll have sex with a hippomarilla. Look, Angela's dog just walked into the right. I have sex with anything that comes into my, if I'm out of order sexually. And I have to understand those things. No matter what my idea, and then the book says, whatever our ideal, not our idea. Idea means something that I come up with. Ideal means degree of perfection. Whatever our ideal turns out to be. What is my ideal for my future sex life? Now, I deal with a lot of people. I deal with gay men, gay women. I have transsexual sponsees. I deal with people who suffer from the disease of alcoholism. Right, and we all have different ideals for our future sex life. I deal with people who are Islamic. I deal with people who are, Mormon. So they all multiple sex partners, multiple wives, multiple. I deal with a couple of women that have multiple husbands, multiple like that. But I am not the arbiter of anyone's sex conduct. See, I don't just take that out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and say, "Shouldn't nobody be judging me?" I don't judge anybody else. That's what makes my relationship with the people I sponsor so wonderful, because we're able to communicate and talk about anything. I don't care if you're hanging off the chandelier or sliding down the pole. That ain't my business, right? I just want to know, like, why am I doing it? What am I trying to fulfill? Am I using sex as a weapon? Now, let me tell you, that's one of the things I'm able to, I hear a lot of, I understand, and I'm able to understand women when I said women talk about being prostitution. I prostitute. Like I sold me. Yeah. And I'm not talking about in some futuristic, I'm talking about literally. Not I wasn't on no street corners, but if he, she, it, or them say they needed something and they was willing to pay for it, I was giving it up. See, I'm telling you what I'll do, straight insane out of my mouth, stone cold sober. Yeah. So I remember hearing my sponsor talk about that, and that's one of the things that really opened me up and helped me. And he talked about a guy at his job, and the guy would always approach him, and he said he would he would lower his voice and say, I don't play that, right? like I don't play that, right? But he said, and this he was a guy that liked guys, and he said, and I would tell him I don't play that. He said the guy told him, wait till you drink. Wow. See, when I'm open spiritually, when I'm off base spiritually, I'll do anything that comes along with being off base spiritually. That's why I need to be connected to a power. That's why I need to be connected to the source. And it was only through the inventory that I end up, I realized that. See, I'll come in here with these strong convictions that the big book says that we have moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them, even though we would have liked to. I would have liked to, like, going to church and being a deacon and being part of the congregation and listening to and having these church leaders and listening to people tell me and being convicted spiritually about what I needed to do, but still not being able to live up to that. Yeah. And finding myself waking up naked next to a man and not having the luxury of a blackout to explain. Yeah. See, listen, and it's not just because I needed one more. I needed what they had. I needed what, and I always felt that if I gave you me, you would give me what I needed emotionally. Sex was a tool for me. In the same way with it, listen, if my wife didn't do or my girlfriend didn't do what I asked or I wanted her to do, she wasn't getting up. Like look, I'm just like I turn over and I put on clothes and turn over and I sleep. Like I do the same thing. I have a headache, my toothache. Look, I do the same stuff y'all do, right? Just because. But then I'll also, when I need something or when I want something, see, my teeth come out. I'll pull my teeth out and start doing some strange things for some change, right? See, I'm telling you, look, I get down when I need to get down, and I'll convince myself that it's okay. The big book says, where have we unjustifiably aroused jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? See, because these things that I do, the way I get into relationships and the way that I've come into these areas, then when I'm not here or when I'm not home and I'm making these phone calls, I'm getting caught up in this situation, I unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, and bitterness. And then I'll understand why you act like that. Fool, I just got caught cheating. Right? But I don't want to tell, I don't want to, how dare you keep trying to, why do you want to look at my text message? Why do you want to, why are you trying to always investigate me? Why are you trying to be an investigator? Why are you trying to be Inspector Gadget? Because you're known to do stuff you ain't got no business doing. But when I'm asking God, it says, whatever ideal turns out to be, we ask God to help us live up to it. Yeah. And listen, whatever that ideal turns out to be, whether you whether you have multiple partners or you're and you're communicating that, whatever that ideal turns out to be for you. But the thing that I'm learning is that sometimes I need to keep my mouth shut about what I'm doing. See, that's why I got David. Talk to David. Because meetings are not a dumping ground. Sometimes we hear in Alcoholics Anonymous, talk about everything, drink about nothing. No, I need to talk about some things, but I need to find somebody in whom I can share these deep and meaningful things that go on inside of me. These things that I don't want anybody else to know about, but I need to let somebody know about. And I was able to let David know these terrible things that I steal in my mind 24 years later, the things that I still think about, the things that I still want to do that he has to talk to me about. And here in step 5, when I talked to him about those things that I had written down in these 4 steps, and I love this, and David gave me this piece of paper after we did my first 4th step, and I'm sitting there crying because I did some terrible things to some people. You know, not only my sexual conduct was out of order, my fears were killing me and other people around me. See, I think that things only affect me, but I don't realize and understand the collateral damage. When I began to understand the collateral damage that gets affected behind my action, wow, that's why I drank, because I felt so bad behind the decisions that I make that also affected you. I had to drink. And David gave me this piece of paper after we were sitting down talking, and he pushed this piece of paper over to me. I thought I was going to have to choke him and kill him because he was over there writing some stuff down. I thought I was going to have to kill this man because he was going to tell some stuff on me, right? and the piece of paper said this: I'm a worthwhile human being in spite of my faults and imperfections. I'm okay because God don't make me jump. I'm a worthwhile human being in spite of my faults and imperfections. I'm okay because God don't make no jump. Before I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, and still sometimes today when I'm not showing up as the best version of me, when I'm going through these things in my head, when my mind is out to get me, I still feel like I'm not the best. And I need to remember that. In spite of my faults and imperfections, God don't make no jump. So glad I'm not jumping. So grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm so grateful for sisters and brothers like you. I'm grateful for the inventory process. You know, Socrates says that the unexamined life is not worth living. And Bill W. put it in a different way. He said that we made a searching reveal is more inventory of ourselves. I had to look at me. But the 4th step in the 12 and 12 says to see wasn't enough. That's why I got to do a 5th step. Just to see what the problems are ain't enough. I need to talk to somebody. And it's going to disturb somebody right now, and it's okay. Pray for me. I need to pray. You need to practice. We're going to get help, right? This going to disturb somebody. It says in the fifth step in the 12, we talk to somebody so we can get that direct comment and counsel to our situation. See, because I hear people say, well, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I give counsel to people. I'm in a spiritual program of action. I need somebody to help me with my spirit. My sponsor, I call him when I talk to other people. I say my spiritual advisor. I don't run around and say my sponsor. I say my spiritual advisor because he advises me in my spirit. I'm in the spiritual program of action. And that's what he does. He advises me in my spirit. Now, when I go sit down and talk to David about things that are going on, about things that I think I want to do, about how my life is out of whack again, right? Because see, I'm that alcoholic that's again and again and again and again, right? I be trying not to again and again and again, but I just be again sometimes. Yeah, Bridget understands that again, right? See, I'll be again sometimes. But the things that you guys help me to understand is even when I have a process that I could look at. Now, in areas of sex, it says that to sum up about sex, we earnestly pray for the right ideal, for guidance in each questionable situation. What's the questionable situation? Am I married or not? Am I in a relationship or not? Am I trying to have sex with somebody outside of my marriage or my relationship? Does this go against the principles that I've started trying to live by? Does it go against my religion? Does it go against my ideal of my degree of perfection for my life? That's the questionable situation. What am I doing here? You know, because it says when the imperious urge would yield, right? Like, am I horny or not? And if I'm just getting horny, I need to be careful, right? Listen, I was going through a situation like that, and my sponsor told me, you need to get a gym membership, right? Right? like you need to go work out somewhere else, right? Like, fortunately, I was able to talk to him about these things before I acted on them. See, just because they're in my head don't mean that they're bad. And that's what I've always been told. You know, if it's in my head, it's bad. I shouldn't be thinking about it. I'm the worst of the worst. No, I can think about it all I want to. I just don't have to take action on it. It says here, if sex is very troublesome, we throw ourselves in the harder into helping others. See, Lavelle, that don't mean go have more sex, right? See, because that's that's what I heard, right? I don't know what y'all heard, but it says go, work more with others, right? But it says we think of their needs and work for them. This takes us out of ourselves. It quiets the imperious urge when to yield would mean heartache. Heartache for who? Sometimes it might not be heartache for me. Sometimes it can be heartache for the other individual, right? I might be okay with having sex with 9, 10 different people. I might be okay with having multiple women. And the women that say they're okay with me having multiple women, some of them might be okay, but 1 or 2 of them might not be okay with it. They might be saying it. And my sponsor says, just because somebody likes getting hit over the head with a hammer, don't mean you have to be the one to hit them. Boy, David gets on my nerves, man. I mean, like your mama, right? Like, how dare you keep saying this stuff to me? That and it's so simple and understandable and clear. Stop being a crash test dummy, Lavelle. Stop being a better version of you. I see you, Bridget. Stop being a better version of you. Not being a better version of Sonny, Sandra, Brenda, Mary, MJ, Monica. I can't be my best version of you. My great-grandfather used to always say, be careful of judging other people because you don't know how far of a hole they had to crawl out of. Your hole might not be as deep as mine, but I'm still here with the same level of wanting to be loved, needed, wanted, and understood. Just want to be loved. I just want to be loved. I love you guys. Thank you again, Sunny, for asking me to run my mouth about Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you, Shelly, for sharing, and thank all you extraordinary people for showing up. My name is Lavelle Deshaun Johnson. See, I'm an alcoholic. I'll keep coming back.